topic is who can attain the blessing of immortality. Vidyam cha yastad vedo bhayam saha avidyaya mrityum tirtva vidyayam mritamashnuti. Only one who can learn the process of nescience and that of transcendental knowledge, vidya and avidya, side by side, can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of immortality. So what is required is to have the knowledge of both vidya and avidya, and select only vidya, the transcendental knowledge. So we have discussed that part, what is vidya and what is avidya. This path of vidya is most perfectly explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, which directs a human being to utilize his life to inquire into the absolute truth. Jivasya tattva jigyasa nardho yascheha karmati. The goal of life is first to inquire about the absolute truth. Not only doing activity for money. That is not the goal of life. The absolute truth is realized step by step as Brahman, Paramatma, and finally Bhagavan. And that is the topmost realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The absolute truth is realized by the broad-minded man who has attained the knowledge and detachment, Jnanam and Vairagyam, by following the 18 principles of the Bhagavad Gita explained in the purport of Mantra 10, that is 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The central purpose of these all 18 principles is the attainment of transcendental devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, all classes of men are encouraged to learn the art of devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So the best benefit for human life itself is to attain devotional service to the Supreme Personality of God. That's why it is said, Tasmad ekena manasa. By one pointed attention and devotion, Bhagwan Sattvatam Pati, that Supreme Lord who is the master of Sattvatas, very pure hearted souls. And how it does, how it starts, by Shravanam and Kirtanam. That is the process. And if we learn this art, then we are protected. The guaranteed path to the aim of Vidya is described by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, which we have presented in English as Nectar of Devotion. The culture of Vidya is summarized in Srimad Bhagavatam 1-14 in the following words. Tasmad ekena manasa bhagavan sattvatam patihi shrotavyaha kirtitavyascha dheyah pujyascha nityada. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear, nityada, always, glorify, remember, and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Pujyascha, who is the protector of the devotees, Sattvatam Pati. And that is the process. Once you understand what is Vidya, then all our intelligence and attention should be only diverted and engaged in service of the Supreme Lord. Unless religion, that is dharma, economic development, artha, and kama, sense gratification, aim towards the attainment of devotional service to the Lord, they are all simply different forms of nescience, karma bandhana, as Sri ISHOPANISHAD indicates in the following mantras. So this is the thread, that to attain the Supreme Lord and attain the full blessings of immortality, becoming Amrita, Amrita, immortal. One has to attain the devotional service. And those who only accept avidya as everything, nescience as only everything, so then these kind of people cannot get any happiness. So even the so-called demigods, especially tamasic natured people, they worship these kind of demigods who are representing tamasic energy. So those people, where they land up? It's explained in Mantra 12. Andham tamaha pravishanti ye sambhutim upasate tato bhuya ivate tamo yau sambhutyamrataha. Andham, ignorance. Tamaha, darkness. Pravishanti, enter into. Ye, those who. Asambhutim, demigods. Upasate, worship. Tataha, than that. Bhuyaha, still more. Eva, like that. Te, those. Tamaha, darkness. Ye, who. Who, also. Sambhutyam, in the absolute. Rataha, engaged. Those who are engaged in the worship of demigods enter into the darkest region of ignorance, and still more so do the worshippers of impersonal absence. Apparently contradictory nature will be seen in the text of Upanishads. That's why they are tricky, and without acharyas it is difficult to completely unlock the meaning they are representing. Or the worshippers of absolute truth in the form of impersonal aspect, they can land up in a deeper black regions of this world. So that will be explained. The Sanskrit word asambhuti refers to those who have no independent existence. Dependence means they are dependent on the Supreme Lord, and independent means who have given up the supreme authority of the Lord, and they are trying to be materially independent. And Sambhuti is the absolute personality of Godhead, who is absolutely independent of everything. That's why he is Aptakama or Atmaram or Purnakama. That means he only finds satisfaction in himself, and he doesn't require anybody else to give him happiness, but he has expanded to expand the happiness. So this same principle we can apply in our life. If we want happiness, then we should only expand the happiness. But generally what we do, we expand our anxieties, and then what happens is only we get anxieties. So we have to first see by particular expansion in our life. It may be social, it may be spiritual, it may be cultural, it may be financial. These expansions, are they expansions of our happiness, or are they expansions of our anxiety? And if it is the expansion of asambhuti, then we will land up in a deeper problem. So we have to be careful. So this is the way we should apply the knowledge of Shastras. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Personality of God is Shri Krishna states, Name viduhu suragana prabhavam na maharshayah aham adirhi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah. Who can know the Supreme Personality of Godhead as He is? Neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know me, my origin or opulences. For in every respect, I am the source of all these demigods and all the sages. They are all my amshas. So amshas cannot understand amshi. An atom cannot understand the cosmos. And a small tiny brain of a jiva cannot understand the entire arrangement of the Supreme Lord. But he can understand to the degree the Absolute gives him intelligence and the perception of reality as it is. To that degree he can understand. So it is a dependence intelligence. We are never independently intelligent. We are always dependently intelligent. So that's why when we try to become independent of this intelligence of the Supreme Lord, we become so-called foolishly intelligent. And we remain only foolish. That's why that becomes a Sambhuti. Sambhuti means to always be connected with the Supreme Lord. Thus, Krishna is the only origin of all the powers and all the jivas, and especially powers which are given to demigods, sages and mystics. Although they are endowed with great powers, these powers are limited, and thus it is very difficult for them to know how Krishna himself appears by his own internal potency in the form of a man. Manushim Tanumashritam. He looks like as if he is a normal man, but he is the Supreme Lord, because Lord is not made in the image of man, but man is made in the image of God. So this we have to understand. And Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. I manifest myself to the eyes of theists by my internal potency. And those who are envious, for them, my external potency, Maya Shakti, acts upon them. They envy me and they get degraded, and then I have to come to annihilate them. Vinashaya cha dushkritam. So there are many philosophers and great rishis and mystics. They try to distinguish the absolute from the relative, sapeksha and nirpeksha. They try to do that with their tiny brain power. Very small brain we have. With that we want to understand everything, especially about the absolute truth. But by material brain, how the absolute truth can be understood completely? So without the mercy of the absolute, it's just impossible. But then these people, armchair speculators, they try to do that, and they find great difficulty in trying to understand the whole thing. They can't see the whole picture. This can only help them to reach to negative conception, not the absolute conception, but the negative conception of absolute, without realizing any positive trace of the absolute. Because they have a lot of negativity in themselves, and then they only find the negative solutions. In a meeting, some people, they wanted to take revenge from the other party, and there was a great meeting and nothing was allowed, no food, no drinks, nothing was allowed inside the meeting, but only drinkable water was allowed. So they were taking water and discussing how to take action, this and that. But then somehow mysteriously what happened is, after the meeting, many members of the meeting, they got a heavy fatal toxicity in their stomach and they are about to die. Then the research was conducted exactly what went wrong, because before meeting everybody was very hell and healthy, they have no difficulties, and in the meeting also they were enthusiastic, and after the meeting something happened like that. So what was the cause? So according to this one of the research, they found out the water which was hearing the negative energy for a long time, that water changed its nature, and because of change of that form of the water, it acted itself not as a clean drinkable water, but it acted as a negative energy to affect the same people who were filled with this negative energy, and to the degree that they were about to die because of the toxicity created in their own system. So this negative approach only attracts the negative solutions. So similarly, these corrupted philosophers, corrupted rishis and corrupt mystics, and what to talk of demons. So Asurim Bhavam Ashita, they are subscribed to the channel of Nescience, and because of that, their conception of the Absolute also becomes negative. And there is no trace of any positive aspect about the Absolute. The definition of Absolute by negation is not complete. Naiti, naiti. Not this, not this, not this. But if you have taken the collection of the things to be sorted out only wrong, then you will sort out all the things and finally you will not get the thing you want. So that's why Neti Neti is incomplete, because they are trying to find God materially only in material world. And that is just impossible, because Lord is spiritual. He is there in material world also. But Lord is never material. He is always spiritual. And that's why by material endeavors and with material brain, mind and senses and material bodies, it is just not possible to even go near to the Supreme Lord, to conceive Him properly. That's why we need a spiritual source, the spiritual transcendental sound vibration, to give us the complete knowledge about the Supreme Lord. And that's the only source. Shabda is the only source of knowledge. That's why it is said, Anavritita Shabdat. Vedanta Sutra says, the avritti is because of the material sound, but anavritti, the stopping of the cycle of birth, old age, disease and death, is only possible by transcendental sound of the holy name of the Lord. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama eva kevalam. Kalo nasti eva, nasti eva, nasti eva, gatihir annitha. The only hope for deliverance in the age of Kali is the holy name of the Lord, holy name of the Lord, holy name of the Lord. And there is no other way, no other way, no other way. That's why anavritti. Avritti is cut out. Shabdat. Only by Shabda, only by transcendental sound, we can stop the rotation of birth, old age, disease and death. That is the conclusion of Vedanta Sutra. So such negative definitions lead only one to create a conception of his own. That's why people now say, My Gita. Why? Because they are not happy with Krishna. So they are writing their own Gita now. Thus one imagines that the Absolute must be formless. Because form has a problem. So the Absolute, to be faultless, has to have no form. So this is the Naiti Naiti concept. Foolishness. Material qualities and are therefore also relative. These negative qualities, we skipped one sentence. Formless means without qualities. Such negative qualities are simply the reversal of the relative. That are just the opposite of the relativity. Material qualities and are therefore also relative. Material mind and senses and especially intelligence is relative. So the conclusion it will derive will be also only relative. They can't be absolute. That's why we need an absolute source to get the absolute knowledge about the absolute. By conceiving of the absolute in this way, one can at the utmost reach the impersonal effulgence, but that also by the mercy of the Lord. That to go to Brahman is also not possible for speculators. To go to Brahman also they have to have the bhakti bhav, at least towards Brahman. And without that, Lord says, Bhaktya mam abhijanat. Only by bhakti, devotion, one can understand the Supreme Lord as He is. So, one may go till Brahman also, but from that towards the Bhagavan, Goloka, they can't progress without the mercy of the Supreme Lord and His pure devotees. With that devotion only, they can go ahead in realizing the absolute truth as Bhagavan, Satchidananda, Vigraha form. So that is only possible with the association of pure devotees. So such mental speculators, obviously they do not know the absolute person as Krishna, and He is the only foundation. Brahmano hi pratistham. He is the foundation of impersonal Brahman. which is nothing but the glaring effulgence of his transcendental body. And from him only, the neutral personality, Paramatma, Super Soul, also manifests, who does not directly involve in changing the free will of the Jiva, but he just Upadrishta Anumantaja Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara. He hears what is the demand of the Jiva, desire, and then he gives Nirdesha how he can satisfy that desire. And he allows that, Anumantaja, Bharta, and he takes care of the Poshana, the nurturing of the Jiva. And Bharta Bhokta, and he is the enjoyer of all the actions of all the Jivas in this material world. How he enjoys? By helping them, by personally manifesting as an incarnation and helping the Jivas to come back to his lotus feet. And that is the way Lord gets the field to become an actor, go and play and attract all the Jivas and get back to his lotus feet. That is the way he is Bhokta. He enjoys all the offerings they are done for his pleasure. And this Super Soul is just a plenary representation, small expansion of the Supreme Lord. Mama Teja Amsha Sambhava. With his transcendental energies, Lord manifests this entire world. And in that, this small Amsha as Paramatma comes to guide the Jivas. So these speculators do not know that Krishna has his eternal form with his transcendental qualities, not the qualities of gunas of the material world, but the transcendental qualities of the eternal bliss and knowledge. Sat Chit Anand. Like we have Sattva Gun, Rajagun and Tamagun, Lord's transcendental gunas are Sat, he is eternal personality. Chit, he is eternally knowledgeable. And Ananda, he is Anandaghana. He is always concentrated happiness. That's the Supreme Lord's nature. So the dependent demigods, which are always depending on the Supreme Lord, and the great sages, if they don't follow the guidelines of the Supreme Lord, then they can imperfectly consider him to be just a more powerful demigod. And he's just kind of a demigod, but better demigod. And they can consider Brahman effulgence to be the absolute. So this is the difficulty that can come with the speculators. That's why to speculate about the Supreme is not the way to gain the knowledge about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we need a good source that is empowered by the Supreme Lord to make us understand his true nature. But on the other way, the devotees of the Supreme Lord Krishna, by dint of their surrendering, Sharanagati, unto the Supreme Lord, in unalloyed, pure devotion, Kevala Bhakti, can know that he is the absolute person. Bhaktya Mam Eva Abhijanat. And that everything emanates from him. Mattaha Sarvam Pravartate. From me comes everything. Such devotees constantly, continuously, Tesham Satata Yuktanam, they are constantly rendering service which is lovingly done unto the Supreme Lord Krishna. That's why Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati. With transcendental loving service that is given to the Lord. Ashnami, I eat that wonderful offering. Of whom? Prayatatmana, one who is endeavoring to please me. And he is the fountainhead of everything. In the Bhagavad Gita 7:20 and 23 also it is said that only unintelligent, a person without a brain substance, bewildered persons driven by the strong desire for sense gratification, worship the demigods for the temporary relief of temporary problems. They don't know the temporary problems can be permanently eradicated by only worshipping the permanent solution, eternal solution of everything, the Supreme Lord. Since the living being is materially entangled, he has to be relieved from material bondage entirely to attain permanent relief on the spiritual plane. So we have to give up material plane, then only we can come to the spiritual plane. Putting leg in two ships will not work. There will be a great problem. So only on spiritual plane we can find the eternal bliss. Because the chapala sukha lagi re. We can find only the chapala, always a fleeting success and happiness in this world, which doesn't stay for a few seconds also. So this kind of pleasure is just a cheating pleasure. So if you want eternal bliss, we have to come to the spiritual plane. And then we can have spiritual bliss, life and knowledge eternally. That's why this wonderful text from Sri ISHOPANISHAD is instructing us that we should not seek temporary relief of our difficulties by worshipping the temporary dependent demigods who can only bestow temporary benefits. Shine Pune Martya Lokam Vishanti. And all these blessings only stay for some time, and once that punya is exhausted, one again lands back on the material plane. The Supreme Lord is so merciful if you worship Him, who is all attractive, Sarva Karshak, and who can bestow upon us the complete freedom from Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, everything. And He can take us back home, back to God. Then why not serve Him, worship Him, chant His name? There is no use doing the bhajana of anitya, which is not eternal, just temporary. So all the benefits we will derive will also be temporary. And actually we all only want to have unlimited bliss, unlimited happiness, ananda, which can never be finished, stopped. No comma should come in the happiness. So that is only possible when we are connected to the absolute ananda. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.23 that the worshippers of demigods can go only to the planets of demigods. Those who are worshippers of demigods, they will try to go to demigods. And those who are worshippers of bhutas, bhuteja yanti bhutan, yanti madhyajano bhima. And those who worship me, they will come to me. Those who worship moon god, they will go to moon planet. Those who worship the sun god, they will go to sun planet. And those who worship no god, they will stay here. So the modern scientists, they are now venturing to moon and Mars and whatnot. They are planning to go to Shani also. Shani will be very happy. Please come. I was thinking to come to you. It's very good that you are coming to me. I will save my time. So these Polish scientists, they have funny rockets, and they are doing so many wonderful things in the space, gymnastics. And what is the thing? Then their Kalpana is flying in the sky, and the returning flight just blasts off, and even you cannot get the pieces of their bodies. So this is the development of modern scientists and their rockets. They cannot save themselves, and they will save the entire planet. This is the foolishness of modern science. With their so-called advanced consciousness, which is just degraded one, human beings are naturally inclined to travel in outer space and to reach to other planets. But they want to go by spaceships. But in spiritual Vedic culture, it was just possible that they have other kind of spaceships which were running on mantras, mystic powers, and by the worship of demigods, they can easily go there. Now also it is possible, provided they worship in a proper way. In the Vedic scriptures, it is said that one can reach to other planets by any of the three ways. But most common way is by worshipping the demigod. You worship a particular demigod of that planet, then you can just go to that planet very easily, without difficulty. You worship sun god, you go to sun planet. You worship the moon god, you go to moon planet. You have a Mars god, you go to Mars. You have Shani Dev, you go to Shani planet to get nice beating. And you worship Brihaspati, you can go to Guru. Shukracharya, you can go to Shukra planet. Like that it is possible. And if you worship the baby of moon god, that is Buddha, you go to Buddha planet. And if you worship Lord Brahma, you go to Brahma Loka. That is not in our so-called solar model, but the Satya Loka, the Brahma Loka, Lord Brahma stays. And that is the topmost planet materially in this world. However, all the planets in the material universe are just temporary residences, because they are manifestation for some time. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. They keep manifesting and unmanifesting. But where? Only in the spiritual world. The permanent planets in the Vaikuntha Lokas are there. They do not have any temporary nature. They are eternally existing, and everybody with a blissful life can enjoy all the facilities there with full bliss. And they are found in spiritual sky, Adhyatmika Loka, where the personality of Godhead himself predominates. He is the king there, he is the master of all the jivas, and everybody is serving his lotus feet. As Lord Krishna also states in Bhagavad Gita 8:16, Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravartinorjuna mamupaitya tu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. From the highest planet in the material world, Brahma Loka, that is planet of Lord Brahma, down to the lowest of Patala, all are nothing but the places of misery, wherein the repeated birth and death take place. Punaha avartinaha. They always come back again and again. Even you go to the higher planet, you come down. In the same life also one can come down. And especially taking birth again and again, there are good chances of coming back. But one who attains my abode, Mama upetya, one who comes to me. But tu is used, but for them, he kaunteya. Punarjanma na vidyate. They do not attain rebirth in the material world. They stay with me in the spiritual world only. So this is the solution. To attain the Supreme Lord is the only solution to stop all our coming back business. Punaha avirtanaha. So Sri ISHOPANISHAD is pointing us that one who worships the demigod and attains to their material planets, they still remain only in the darkest region of ignorance of the universe. Because some of the demigods, they are the in charges of the Tamoguna. So you will land up in those planets. You go to Pitri Loka, you go to Yamaraj Loka. There are all darkness there. The whole universe is covered by gigantic material elements. If you have studied the solar model, not solar model, but the Vishwa model, Brahmanda model. So entire Brahmanda creation is surrounded by the different layers of these material elements. And they are 10 times bigger than the previous layer on this universal covering. And it's just impossible to transcend all that to go to spiritual world. It is just like a coconut covered by a shell and half filled with water. Prabhupada is giving the analogy. As we see in the coconut, the inner shell, it is covered with a hard shell, and that is covered with a lot of hairy cushion. And inside the coconut is half filled with water. Similarly, this universe, so Pindi so Brahmandi, what is in a small coconut is also the nature of the entire cosmos actually. That in this Brahmanda, Lord is resting inside that half filled water, and the world is manifested from his navel. That is the way the world is designed. Since his covering is airtight, in the coconut also, no air can go because it is airlocked. The darkness within is very dense, very thick, dense darkness. And therefore the sun and moon are required for illumination. They are like small bulbs inside the cosmos, as we have small bulbs in our kutir, and it is illuminating. So these are required because of the darkness created by the covering, outer shell. So inside we have sun and moon for illumination. But outside of this universe is the vast and unlimited Brahma Jyoti expansion, and that Brahman is filled with transcendental lokas of the Supreme Lord. Vaikuntha lokas is self-illuminating, and there is no need for sun and moon. The biggest and highest planet in the Brahma Jyoti is the centralized Krishna Loka, Goloka Vrindavan Dham, where the Supreme Personality of Godhead Shri Krishna himself resides with the Gopas, Gopis and cows. And the Supreme Lord never leaves that Goloka Vrindavan, ever. Vrindavanam parityajya padam ekam na gacchati. Not a single step Lord comes out from the Krishna Loka, Goloka Vrindavan. That much he loves that supreme planet of his pure devotees. Although he dwells there and his eternal associates, he is omnipresent throughout the complete material and spiritual cosmic manifestation. Andantarastha paramanu chayantarastha. Simultaneously, Goloka eva nivasati. Lord only stays in Goloka. But simultaneously, Akhil Atma Bhuta. But even he is simultaneously in the hearts of all the jivas. That is so amazing nature of the Supreme Lord. That he is in the Golok as Shyam Sundar Krishna, Radharaman. And in the material world, he is there in every atom, every jiva's heart as Paramatma. So that is Mama Teja Amsha Sambhava. This is the mystic potency of the Lord. That simultaneously he can do these wonderful wonders to happen. Although he never leaves the Golok, but he is in every atom. And Prabhupada says even he is in the space between two atoms and between two electrons. And he is in electron also, and proton also, neutron also, everything. Whatever you speak, Lord is everywhere. He can give us association anywhere and everywhere. Only thing is, we should seek him. We should pray to him and he will just manifest. As from the atoms of Hiranyakashipu's pillar, Lord Narasimha came out. So Lord prayed, Andantarastha paramanu chayantarastha. I am there in every paramanu. I can manifest anywhere. Second example is of Uttara, when the baby Parikshit was in her womb and the Ashwatthama's Brahmastra was coming to finish him off. Lord manifested inside the womb. So where is the space there? But Lord very mercifully manifested in the womb of Mother Uttara to give wonderful protection to baby Parikshit. And he protected the baby with his gada, with his club weapon, the Brahmastra of Ashwatthama. That is the wonderful nature of the Supreme Lord. That's why the greatest quality of the Supreme Lord is Bhakta Vatsalata. He cannot tolerate any pain of his devotee. He just comes to give shelter to his devotee and protect him from all the odds. To protect Prahlad, he came from the pillar without mother and father. And he came for baby Parikshit inside the womb of Mother Uttara. So this is the nature of the Lord. He is everywhere. But to get him out from that, we need that invocation. We need that prayer, devotion, to make Lord feel that I need to manifest now. I cannot tolerate my patience anymore. I have to go and help my devotee. So this kind of situation, sometimes by the mercy of atheists, demons, this kind of situation is created. And this situation very much makes the situation very beneficial for the devotee to pray for the Supreme Lord. That's why Mother Kunti also says, Vipadaha santu tashashvat tatra tatra jagatguru bhavato adarshanam yatsyat apunar bhavadarshanam. That, O Supreme Lord, let the incessant flow of all these difficulties, vipadas and difficulties come in our life. No problem. Because when the vipada is there, difficulty is there, then we can always remember you. And when we remember you, bhavato darshanam yatsyat, when we take your darshanam, apunarbhava darshana. We don't have to take again darshan of this material world. So let the difficulties come. No problem. Difficulties are always welcome, provided those difficulties encourage us to take shelter of your lotus feet. That's why even in the age of Kali, we have so many difficulties. But that is good in one nature, because when the difficulty is very, very intense, we are locked down and all that, then we are encouraged to only take shelter of the Supreme Lord. And this was the blessing of Haridas Thakur, that when he was kept in a jail, all other people were looking at him, that, oh Haridas, please liberate us. But then Haridas said, because you are in the jail, you are humble, meek, and you are surrendering to the Supreme Lord. But when you will come out, you will forget everything and you will not surrender to the Supreme Lord. So it's better that you stay in the jail. And if you are in the jail, you will be always surrendered to the Supreme Lord. So that is one of the blessings. And by seeing this nature of Kali, although Kali is very trouble creating and giving a lot of miseries to everyone here, but still Parikshit Maharaj allowed him to stay and gave him some place to be there. Although that was not his kingdom, but he was to go out of the kingdom to find these 4 misery places and the accumulation of gold, which was not happening that time, but now it's happening. That's why Kali is everywhere now, through this sparkling metal called as gold. Wherever it is stopped, then what happens is all the Kali goes everywhere, creating the troubles. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.